You are listening to the Free Spirit Astrology Podcast. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Free Spirit Astrology Podcast. I am your host, Brandy Williams, about to bring you an update for this week. So let's just jump right in. And oh, what a tangled web of astrology this week has brought us. Yesterday, August 19th, we had a lot going on and still a lot going on in these cosmic streets. There was a full moon in Aquarius where the sun in Leo opposed the moon in Aquarius at 27 degrees, and they both squared Uranus in Taurus at 27 degrees. The sun in Leo is also sitting side by side with Mercury in retrograde. That's our planet of communication. And that planet just traveled back into Leo last week to redo something. So, full moons are about illuminating the archetypes of the sign that they're in. Usually, the moon has something to say, and the sun provides a platform. And shines the light on her while she, gets it off her chest. And so full moons are also about releases and revelations so that we can manifest something new or something better. And so at this time, I invite you to journey back into your mind and ask yourself if there's something that needs to go, that needs to change, that needs to be released. What wants to shift in a radical way in your life? Is there something that you need to stop or start doing that pertains to your more authentic expression? Because Aquarius signifies the evolution of our humanity, individualism, social media, and rebellion with respect to our unique and authentic self expression. So, Aquarius is our tribes or our higher minds. It is breaking out of the old traditions and creating new ones. And the full moon is highlighting that some of us are still not honoring our unique expression. We could feel hesitation because we are worried about what a certain group of people might think or how our uniqueness goes against our inherent tribes, communities, parents, friends, etc. How if I do this or post this or present myself this way, so and so might have something to say about it or they might not approve. But the full moon in Aquarius wants us to know that before you were a part of anyone's group, their tribe, their family, you were an individual. And you were an individual with a calling as unique as the fingerprints on your hand. And we came here to carry out and to serve our own in our own unique way. Now, with the sun in Leo being the one casting this light on the Aquarius moon, we know that the individual expression that the moon is talking about is connected to our heart's desire, our passion, and our joy, right? The sun in Leo is showing us our own conditioning as well and putting our conditioning about how we are hesitant to put our own gifts on display. Um, because some of us were told that we shine too bright, that we took up too much space and that we stole the show from someone else. And in our innocent and developing minds, we believe that shining was bad because shining too bright hurt the people that we loved or set us apart from the tribe. And no one wants to be kicked out of the tribe. So we assimilated. We didn't want to stand out because we feared that we'd be standing alone. And so Aquarius Moon says, in your adult life, you get to choose your tribe. We get to choose a network of people who honor their own individuality so that they may respect our individuality so everyone can shine. But it is in our human nature to want to hold on to things, especially things that we came from and our cultures and, our indoctrinations and our beliefs. And, of course, absolutely at the highest, our families and how they want us to behave, right? How they expect us to maneuver in this experience. And so it's very hard to move away from something that we're connected to or that we're attached to until it gets uncomfortable enough. And so this is where Uranus comes in. So Uranus is the planet of rebellion. It is our great awakener. It is the rule breaker, and Uranus can be a wild card. So it can be, Uranus can bring something sudden and exciting, something that you just really can't turn down, but it can also bring something shocking and chaotic, something that makes you go, oh my God, and something that you are not expecting that could really throw you off. And so but Uranus came here for one thing, and that's to change us. Uranus came to bust us out of our own way. Uranus says, if I didn't shake the foundation from under you, you wouldn't have moved. And it's time. It's time to get in your own lane. It's time to get out your own way. It's time to shine. Uh, and it is not our responsibility to play it small or to make others feel comfortable. When we show up authentically, we find a tribe full of people just like us, the real us. We don't have to go to sleep and wake up and put on a mask. We don't have to censor ourselves because we just get to be who we are. And this unique expression connects us to more creativity, to more joy, to more love. So during at this time yesterday in the same sky on the same day, we have another conversation happening between three other planets, actually four. So we have Jupiter in Gemini squaring Saturn in retrograde in Pisces. And so Jupiter in Gemini is very hyperactive, it's eager, it has its hands in many different things, it wants to do a lot of things, it has a lot of things on its mind to do, and it's feeling confident, enough to do it, because guess what? Mars is right there with Jupiter, and Mars is our planet of assertion, and it is our energy, and it is how we go for what we want. It is confrontation, it is how we assert ourselves. And so Mars is in the front seat, conjunct with Jupiter, acting a damn fool. Mars is hype anyway, but depending on what sign it's in. But Mars in Gemini is very hype. Uh, he is Jupiter's, hype man, muscle man. He's just down for whatever. He just wants all the stimulation, right? So together they talking real big shit. Like they feeling real bold, real cocky, a lot of bravado happening right here. But Saturn in Pisces is operating as our spiritual teacher, as our intuition and our inner wisdom. And he's like, listen, this is not going to work. Something needs to be shut down. You do not have all the information. You don't have all the facts. You haven't thought this through. You haven't assessed how this will affect you, your family. You know, there are so many parameters and moving pieces that you have not looked at yet, and you don't even know if you can handle this. So you need to fall back. And of course, Jupiter's like, nah, I'm not falling back. Mars like, that's right, Jupiter, we not. And so therein lies a conflict. But Saturn and Pisces can see what Jupiter and Mars can't see. And that's because, Saturn and Pisces has the advantage of spiritual wisdom and the mind's eye. And so this square could really be pertaining to something that we are still trying to connect to, that we know is not good for us, something that we have outgrown. We could be wanting to go back to something in our comfort zones. We could be trying to go back to old people and old jobs, out of comfort, out of fear. But Pluto is also in this conversation, and Pluto is going to dismantle anything that is not future focused or aligned with our future selves. So Pluto is bringing our attention to our future selves and the future of humanity. The old ways and the old traditions, the old systems are being torn down. This conversation between Jupiter and Saturn is called an opening square because it is a reopening of a conversation that began between Jupiter and Saturn in December 2020, right before the pandemic. And what happened was Jupiter and Saturn were conjunct at 0 degrees of Aquarius. And at this time, they were really coming up with some type of big dream, big plans, just really want to do big things. But then here comes Pluto, and Pluto stands right next to them in the very same spot in 0 degrees of Aquarius. And Pluto shut shit down. I know y'all remember. And Pluto did this because whatever Jupiter and Saturn were trying to create or trying to build was not conducive to the future. They wanted to do something in an old-fashioned way. They wanted to do something tried or true, and but Pluto and Aquarius is like, we're not doing that. We're not going back. We're headed to the future, right? Because Aquarius is about that future energy. And Pluto is going to tear down, something to build something better. So in this new conversation between Jupiter and Saturn, something is still not lining up. Something needs to be released, something needs to end, something needs to change. And this is the first of three conversations uh, between Jupiter and Saturn throughout this year and into November of 2025. And that is around the time we will see a resolution to these conversations that Saturn and Jupiter are having. And so this is truly a clash of the titans. And with Mars here, there will be triggers. So Mars being here is like fighting words. This is harsh communication. There will be people and powers that don't like this change in society. They don't like the change in you. They don't like what the new you and what you stand for. They don't like the fact that you can't be controlled, that you're moving past the status quo. And we will see some combative behavior, explosive tempers and explosive words, harsh words, manipulation tactics, and interactions that will require you to really stand in your divine neutrality, in your divine femininity, in your divine masculinity, because you don't need to get into the low vibrational pools of the people who are trying to pull you into that. And so, also, Venus, who's in Virgo, is involved in this conversation with Saturn, with Jupiter, with Mars. So she's sitting on the opposite end of Saturn. And she's also squaring Jupiter and Mars and Gemini. And so, like Saturn, Venus wants a slowdown from us, and she wants us to pause. She just wants she wants it for a different reason than Saturn does. So Saturn wants us to stop repeating cycles, old cycles, stop doing things that hurt us. The definition of insanity is doing something over and over and expecting things to change. That's what Saturn is on. Saturn is like, listen, you know that this doesn't work. Why do you keep doing this? Okay, I need you to use your third eye. I need you to use your intuition and really assess like what your body needs, what your body is telling you. And Venus wants us to pour into our own values. She wants us to be to have minimal and simple interactions right now. She wants physical and mental carings to happen for ourselves. She wants us to take care of our health and our nutrition and really sharpen up our daily routines. She really wants us to pour into ourselves and fill our cups up. And Saturn, he just wants us to not get too ahead of ourselves, not undo all of the spiritual work that we've been doing. We've been working on ourselves for so long, and Saturn wants us to not get too ahead of today, too overwhelmed thinking about all the things that we could do, that we need to do, all of these plans that are so far down the road, and it's giving us a lot of overwhelm and anxiety, and it could lead us to burnout, and it could affect our health, which Venus is definitely not down for. She's like, no, we definitely need to take care of ourselves. Like, no, you don't need to go and try to start a new project. Why don't we go on that walk, right? Why don't we do something that's going to be good for our mind and our bodies, and so we could just really be connected to ourselves. And on August the 22nd, the sun will ingress into into Virgo and join Venus. And this is really going to shift us into a more self servitude type of energy if we are doing Virgo in a high expression. Um, because this Virgo energy that's coming in right now really wants us to create a well and a swell inside of us so that we may pour from the overflow and we can serve others well by first serving ourselves. And so we're going to see the energy lighten up tomorrow on the 22nd as Jupiter and Saturn simmer down till the next conversation. Mars is going to start to get a little bit away from Jupiter. We're going to see a lot of things slowing down. This is a great time to really honor your inner wisdom, to take care of your mind and your spiritual center, and to pause and to meditate and, do vision boards. You probably are getting little glimpses of how you really want the future to be, and lovingly just lean into those energies and do something light and fun that makes you feel good, right? Just really be there for yourself at this time so that you can be there for your loved ones and others in in a full capacity. And I just want to encourage anyone who may be going through something that's hard right now, that maybe they feel like they don't know what the next move is going to be, and just know that whatever's happening to you is happening for you, and it's happening for your highest good, even when you may not feel that way. I really hope that this message and this episode found you in your highest regards. I just ask that if you would like to get to know your chart more, if you would like some coaching, some mindset coaching with the accompaniment of your birth chart, and if you've had a reading with me, you definitely can. I'll leave a link in my show notes for you to get a birth chart reading. If you've had a reading and you would like coaching, just send me a direct message on Instagram. If you have any questions, if you want to just, chat, if you have any comments that you want to just talk, say to me personally, I will leave my handle for Instagram in the show notes. It is Coach B84. Please feel free to send me a message and tell me how you're liking the podcast. You can leave a comment on your podcast platform. If this message resonates with you and you feel like somebody else could hear it, please share it with them. I greatly appreciate you all. And until next week, please have a blessed week. Bye. You are listening to the Free Spirit Astrology Podcast.